raid on the defensive line was answered in kind, and you got a big name running back that's really exciting that not a lot of people would have thought maybe you were in play for. Let's talk to the expert, Ross Jackson, at Ross Jackson NOLA on Twitter. Of course, he hosts Locked On Saints, also does a ton of work to the entire Locked On network. He is the absolute best. You want some daily Saints coverage, subscribe to Locked On Saints today. Ross, what's happening, man? Thank you so much for joining us, brother.
Hey, guys, no problem at all. Thanks so much for having me on.
So wait, where are you headed to right now, you said?
Yeah, so I'm on my way to the Saints facility. They have their Louisiana local pro day today, so I'll be there for that, and then I'll be quickly jetting up to Uptown for the Tulane pro day as well.
Okay, excellent. Is Tajay Spears going to be involved in the Tulane pro day? I mean, he did so well at the Senior Bowl and everything. Is he – I mean, I'm sure he's going to be there doing interviews or something in some capacity. Do you know, is he running or doing drills or anything today?
Yeah, the expectation is that he'll do his 40-yard dash today. He didn't do one at the combine.
Okay.
So the expectation is that he'll run that today, as well as, I'm sure, a couple of other workouts as
well. And we'll get to Spears. But first, a big day for the New Orleans Saints yesterday. And let's start with the biggest name. Like, we can get to Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard, and I really want some insight on them. But Jamaal Williams, a guy who – look, the internet fell in love with, the casual NFL fan fell in love with. In a lot of ways, he came to represent that kind of plucky underdog Lions team that, Jake, I know you loved and a lot of us did. He's probably the biggest weeb, not dweeb, the biggest weeb, which is a Westerner who loves anime and wants to be Japanese. He's probably the biggest weeb in the NFL, probably the best post-game interview. He rushed for 17 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. Like, in a time when you need running back, it feels almost too perfect, Ross, that they were able to get Jamaal Williams.
Yeah, when I was previewing the position all throughout the offseason and sort of looking at the potential free agents that they could go after, I barely even mentioned Jamaal Williams because I thought the Saints would be that far out of the running for the guy that led the NFL in rushing touchdowns just a year ago. And, you know, he was stuck over in Green Bay behind guys like Aaron Jones and all, just kind of waiting to break through. Finally get that opportunity with the Detroit Lions, with a couple seasons there, and, of course, just went off last year. And, of course, the Saints have a bunch of connections to that Detroit Lions coaching staff. Dan Campbell's over there, Mark Brunell's over there, Aaron Glenn's over there. So I'm sure that they went forward and got, you know, a bunch of insight from those guys in terms of, you know, who he is and what he brings to the team. But I said in yesterday's show that Jamaal Williams is a perfect fit for New Orleans. And I don't just mean the New Orleans Saints. I mean, he's a perfect fit for this city. Fans are going to fall in love with him, the passion that he brings, how much joy he has when he's on the football field, and, of course, just the work ethic and the power that he plays with are all things that are going to make fans fall in love with this guy.
I feel like he's a fit, too, for what the Saints tried to do last year, and I don't feel like they had the fit at running back to try to do it last year, but they did offensively. So I think, like, even the scheme of it, I think Jamaal Williams is going to be a perfect fit.
100%. Him and Alvin Kamara, depending on Alvin Kamara's availability and all that stuff, of course, we caveat. But, you know, him and Alvin Kamara are going to be a really fantastic 1-2 punch. And maybe that 1-2 punch that the Saints have been on the lookout for since, you know, the first departure of Latavius Murray. So the Saints sort of had to go into this, you know, cycle of undrafted free agents trying to build out of that. Now you come out of that and you find yourself another guy that can run between the tackles, that can catch out of the backfield. You can get him around the edge if you need to, but you don't have to focus on running him there. 6 foot, a little bit over 6 foot, 224, 225 pounds. He can be that between the tackles runner that complements Alvin Kamara so well. And, of course, complements a lot of these other guys that they could potentially be pursuing in the draft if they want to continue to build out this running back room.
So it is pretty interesting with Williams because, like I said, personality-wise, I'm already in love with him. And then the stats are unreal. I mean, 17 rushing touchdowns and 1,000 yards last year. But there, you know, as always, there's going to be detractors, right? And so there's some who point out that, you know, all those are like 1-yard rushing touchdown. And then William Ivey.
Yeah, let them go out there and run 1 yard on the goal line.
Well, yeah, let me know how easy that is.
No, okay, exactly, right? So in and of itself, that critique is a bit baseless because that is a skill, right? Like being able to get that yard is a massive skill, and it's something that the Saints haven't always had. Actually, do you want to add anything to that real quick, Ross?
Yeah, just real quick, it's obviously it's a skill to be able to do that, but look at where the New Orleans Saints were most efficient and least efficient last year. One of the things that they were least efficient in was finishing drives.
Yep.
And particularly toward the second half of the season, their red zone play was down, their third down, percentage was down. Like all of these things that are situational football, you need that kind of back in order to be able to cash in the biggest moments. And so when you get into those red zone possessions, having guys like Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, and now Jamaal Williams, and then hopefully, you hope to keep a healthy Michael Thomas throughout all that. But you see where the New Orleans Saints are saying, okay, where did we come up short in 2022, and how do we fix that in 2023? And Jamaal Williams is a piece of that solution.
William Ivey in the chat says, if he's so good, can you explain why Detroit let him go? I mean, so I don't care as much about why Detroit let him go, but I am a bit interested to see that the Saints got him on a what feels like a relatively friendly deal.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he scored too many touchdowns. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing. Oftentimes, when